Hello, everyone. That works. The microphone's on. Good. Thank you for coming to this final kind of plenary, which will encompass the Social Value Awards, as you can tell, and then what we will do is have a short kind of Q&A with the 4 winners of the categories as well, just briefly before we close at 4 and go to drinks. So. My name's Nick Temple, as you can tell from the big slide behind me, and I'm Deputy Chief Exec at Social Enterprise UK. One of my roles as Deputy is to follow behind my Chief Exec and catch things when they don't always turn out right and make them work. So we're going to have a go at the polling, is what I'm saying. So it's not a competitive thing, but if it goes well, then it'll look really good. So we're going to take it a little bit slower, so you're all with me. I mean, people's jobs are genuinely on the line here if this doesn't work. So, so if you can open the event app, you may need to refresh it if you can't see the live poll icon. I'm reliably informed. We did try this earlier. How are we doing so far? Are you all feeling confident this time? Yeah, broadly? And then you should be able to select a session. Yes, is that working so far? Seeing some nods, this is encouraging, and enter the session code. Are we all there? So the session code, Matt suggested I read this out, is 8586. Okay. Some are still logging in. I will. It's what's called a picnic problem in technology, which is problem in chair, not in computer. But I'm sure that is not the case. Not the case for many of you. You can use that. That's for free. That's for your IT support crew. That's fine. So we're going to go. So the question won't be there at the moment, just to be clear. But if we can put the question on the slide, the next one. So this is the question we're going to ask you and that will appear in a second. Okay? So you can absorb that. And when I tap the lectern, again, I'm reliably informed, the question will appear and you will have 30 seconds to vote. I can feel the excitement in the room. Are you ready? I'm sorry, there's no palpable excitement. Are you ready to vote? Okay, good. Okay, right, fine. So, hopefully, crew up there. Yes. Let's go for it. Has it appeared? Can you vote? Oh, there's some people who appear to have a yes. That's good. That's encouraging. Oh, I've got music as well. It's like a countdown. Well, not countdown, but... Okay, so I'm not going to reveal the results yet. I'm going to do that after the awards, keep you on tenterhooks. But we're certainly keen to find out what you think the key things are. I don't know if that was success or failure, but thank you either way. So thank you for your patience on that, and hopefully that's worked, and we'll flash up the results at the end. I'm going to move straight on because I really want to make sure we finish the session at 4 as we've promised you. Into the Social Value Awards. And just, I suppose, a reminder really why we do these, which is, although we're often talking about the challenges, the problems, the things that need to improve, there's also a huge amount of great practice going on across sectors. And actually, as well as kind of, if you like, challenging those who aren't doing it as well, we also need to kind of recognise and hold up those that are doing great work in the field. So that's really where the Social Value Awards came from. The Department for Culture, Media and Sport are supporting these along with our partners Interserve. And we remain kind of committed to this. And it's fair to say that the Minister would have been presenting these awards were it not for some important legislation. So apologies that I am a poor substitute for him. Not a poor substitute is where I'm going with that, Matt. Is Matt Roberts, Sustainability Director at Interserve, who will be handing over the awards and also certificates for those who are highly commended. So if you are highly commended, come up, get your certificate, have a photo, don't give a speech, sorry. If you are, I mean, you're all winners, but not. In that sense, if you are a winner, obviously come up, get the trophy, have the photo taken, and say a few words, and then go to the edge of the stage, get mic'd up, and then we'll bring you back on just for the final kind of quarter of an hour or so of Q&A and thoughts from you. We want to hear, actually, from the people who are leading the field. Just quickly, I should say that it was a noticeably stronger set of applications from across sectors again, and higher quality. And please do check out the work of each of those organisations that you've got in the brochures and follow up with them directly. I'd like to thank the judges, which were many of last year's winners, so Anne Lithgow, Dave Sweeney, Jamie Thomas, and my colleague Nancy Towers for organising everything. The trophies, clearly we're trying to get the maximum social value from our supply chain, are made by a great social enterprise called Designs in Mind, who support people with mental health challenges. I heartily recommend them too. So, without further ado, we will go on to the first award, which is Social Value Leadership Award for an Individual. And the nominees here are Brian Bishop from Data Performance Consultancy, who's really driving smarter procurement and embedding social value in his work in Liverpool and across the north, actually. Cindy Nadasan, who's really leading the great work in East Sussex and Surrey in the social value procurement drive they have going on. And Tom Wild from Trafford Housing Trust, who's really taking a local approach to social value, not only in his own organisation, but also beyond it, and doing that with purpose and passion. So we have a highly commended in this field, and the highly commended is Brian Bishop from Data Performance Consultancy. Brian. So I feel I should fill at this point, but Brian was telling me earlier that he's just signed a really significant deal to invest in a totally new platform, working, as he said, across the whole of the Northern Powerhouse, not just with Liverpool City Council, where he's pioneered a lot of this work. So go behind me and get the award. You can applaud again, it's fine. And the winner of Social Value Leadership Award for an individual, I've got envelopes and everything. It's very exciting. No expense spared. Is Tom Wild, the Social Value Advisor from Trafford Housing. And the judges really commended Tom for his proactivity beyond the borders and boundaries of his own organisation, going above and beyond on a consistent basis to really drive social value across Manchester and Greater Manchester. So, congratulations. Do you want to say anything? You can say something if you want. That's fine. If you did want to say something, Tom, you'll get the opportunity in a minute. That's all right. It's fine. We're good. Next up is the Social Value Leadership Award for an organisation. And the nominees are, as you can see, Croydon Council, who's been one of the kind of pioneers on leading the way on social value with a whole range of different initiatives, putting it at the heart of their business. Efficiency North, a non-profit who are really using procurement in housing to make a significant difference in those they work with. Liverpool City Council, who are driving maximisation of social value and again at the forefront of what we're seeing from local authorities. Waits Group, again, some of you will have heard from earlier, driving social value through its business, including through its work with social enterprises. And Wythenshawe Community Housing, who've shown a really impressive commitment to measuring and managing their social value. And there's a highly commended again, and the highly commended goes to Wythenshawe Community Housing Group. Someone from there? There is someone here. So as they come to the stage, I just, encourage you to check out actually the reports and documents and information that's on Wythenshawe's website. They're really doing some amazing work, so congratulations. You'll get applauded again, sure. And the winner of the Social Value Leadership Award for an organisation is Croydon Council. Croydon massively. There An enthusiastic cheer from the Croydon Massive, who are obviously in, which is good to hear. So again, Croydon really pioneered a lot of the toolkits and approaches and frameworks in this space. The next award is Promoting and Mainstreaming the Social Value Act. And the nominees here are Orbis, a partnership between Surrey and East Sussex County Council, really putting social value as one of their key themes in that £1 billion joint initiative. The Restore Trust, who have social value at the heart of their business model, working with ex-offenders in Bristol. And the Social Value Portal, who have not only created an online solution for procurement and measurement and management of social value, but also really advocating and promoting the Act to a wide audience. And there's no highly commended, which doesn't mean they're not wonderful. And the winner of the Promoting and Mainstreaming the Social Value Act Award is Orbis. Okay, fine. I mean, it's not the first time that that's happened to me. Yeah, go for it. You can say a few words.
So I'm absolutely delighted, not least because one of my team was also in the shortlist for the individual award as well. And I've been really just amazed today with the enthusiasm and the motivation that has come from not just the public sector in the room, but also the supply chain and our combined efforts to really make social value a part of our BAU and mainstream. So absolutely delighted. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And the last award is for driving value for money. And the shortlist here is Bromford, who really one of the most innovative housing associations with really impressive social value reporting and really tying that to the commercial agenda for them. The Community Foundation for Calderdale and Totally Locally, who they worked with, demonstrating actually real resourcefulness and resilience at a time of extreme difficulty in the floods in Calderdale. GLL, and I should say here that the blurb for GLL is a bit awry in our brief, but GLL, for those of you who don't know, one of the biggest and fastest growing social enterprises, turning over 270 million, employing 13,000 people and puncturing on a daily basis the myth that social enterprises can't scale. And they've brought in a platform to measure the additional value they're creating for clients and demonstrating that's up to kind of £400 for every pound of their contract. So really impressive work at scale across the country. And finally, Halton Borough Council, again, leaders at the forefront of this from a local authority perspective, driving change across agendas and also across agencies and managing that now really effectively through their contracts as well. So moving on from just the tenders to the management of that contract for value. And highly commended is Bromford, but I don't think there's anyone here from Bromford. Someone kind of put their hand up. No, they didn't. I thought you were waving. Fine, you were clap. You can still clap. I think that's a fair point. We should clap them. No, not here. That's fine. We will send that all the way to the Midlands. And the winner of the Driving Value for Money Award is Halton Borough Council. As I say, please do check out all the kind of shortlist and the nominees, and it was quite hard to even get to the kind of shortlist this year, and please follow up with those organisations on the different things they're taking forward. While we're waiting for the last winner to be mic'd up, then I will hopefully, drumroll, reveal the polling results, he says confidently. Is that going to happen? It has happened. So there you go. So which of these do you think would best help take social values to the next level? Well, we're fairly split. But there's clear around raising awareness, strengthening the Act, and central government taking a proactive lead. And all three of those really actually have implications for kind of central government. So there's a kind of message for us to take to them. So thank you for that. And thank goodness that the polling technology worked. Can I ask the four winners, if you have mics, to come back up on stage? And don't be shy. It's all right. It's only going to be brief. And if there are particular questions that are still burning with you or reflections that you want to make, then please do so. Sorry if we've surprised you with this, but you're excited and you've just won, so you have nothing to complain about at this point. I just want to ask you the same question, I suppose, that we were just asking. What, in your local areas and in your organisations, what would be the thing that would help you do more and take this forward for your organisations? I don't mind who wants to start.
You can take it if you want.
Tom, thank you.
It's actually one that wasn't up there.
Okay, good.
And comes back to what you mentioned in your summary about understanding local needs and what's going to make a difference. I guess there's lots of fairly standard requests, and actually a lot of us are doing social value in a pretty similar way, and there's pretty common requests around local employment and supply chain spend and so forth. But I think what's really going to make the difference is understanding what that means in your local area. Okay. So what groups is it you want to help into support into employment, and what are the target groups, and getting a consistent approach across every organisation in that area, because the more consistency we have, the more we can then influence other organisations and other employers to make the same requests.
Great, thank you. Tom, anyone else?
I suppose I've got a slightly different perspective, although I'd agree my answer wasn't one of the ones that was up there. And I think that's because I'm not sure there are any barriers. I think sometimes there's a bit of a myth that the procurement legislation or something about our processes stops us from doing this stuff that we call social value. And I think you just need to take the view that there is nothing that will stop you if only you can find, and it goes back to Tom's answer around what's important for your location, what's important for your geography, what's important for your stakeholders, your members if you're in a local government, or the people who make decisions, and trying to find the thing that will be the hook to make sure that you can have that impact. Mm-hmm. And the more we start thinking about the art of the possible and not the things that are stopping us from doing it, the harder some of this stuff is going to be to really mainstream into our practices.
Great, thank you very much.
I think the experience for Croydon has been very similar. It's all about can-do approach, really strong leadership within the organisation and within our local borough, within our voluntary sector, social enterprise community. We keep our residents and communities at the heart of what we do, and I think that really drives our ambition. And I'm really pleased that we've won today, and I encourage all of you to come and speak to us and share practice, and we learn from one another. It's all about cross-sector collaboration here.
Great. Yeah.
From a Halton perspective, we've just kept things very, very simple, and what's key for us and what we've done is to raise awareness with the local business sector, the voluntary sector, and again bringing on board the community, looking at what they want and basically how providers and businesses can help us achieve our sustainable community objectives.
Any questions from the floor? I'm coming to you at this point. I'm looking at there is, I can see one over there from the lady accused of being a problem in chair earlier. Apologies for that.
That's all right. That's fine.
You've got the mic now, so you go for it. Yeah.
I've got a mic as well. I'd like to ask you what you think your biggest challenge is for the next couple of years, please.
Great. Presumably around social value, not just generally. So, Right, do you want to kick off?
From Halton, I think it's around keeping the momentum going and the continuity. So obviously we're around tenders and contracts and obviously, winning those. But at the end of the day, when they come to an end or they're terminated, it's about how the community continues to be supported. And I think that is one of the biggest challenges. Mm-hmm. And it's trying to build I was talking earlier today to somebody about maybe building up a social value exit strategy in certain contracts. So again, that's something to think about in the future.
I think that I would agree with that. It's also for us, it's about the measurement, the impact that we're making in our community. I think we need to hold ourselves to account, and we are challenged in a constructive way by our local business partners and voluntary sector social enterprise. We learn from them and we hear from them. So it's really about celebrating that, but how do we move forward and consistently considering the financial challenge, but working within the budgets that we do have.
Again, I suppose I'm not going to say anything new. So I have the fortunate position that I lead a shared procurement service across East Sussex and Surrey County Councils, and it won't have gone unnoticed around kind of the budget pressures and the financial situation that all of local government are facing. So there's something about making sure social value is really building sustainability into our local areas, even when you're up against really difficult budget decisions, and that, you know, that's a financial challenge that's facing the whole of local government and the whole of the budget, the whole of the public sector. So it's very similar, I think, to colleagues on the stage with me.
Mm-hmm. And I'd also add influencing colleagues and organisations and employers across the area. So if we want to really have the maximum impact, it needs to be embedded. Both, I mean, we don't have a centralised procurement function, so we have procurement individuals across the whole organisation, so it's really influencing all of those individually. But then going more widely to other organisations, if we're going to really have impact, then we need to look at how do you put social value clauses into development, major development, planning, legislation, procurement. We've got lots of development going across Greater Manchester. That's going to involve local authorities, developers, private sector, public sector, third sector, everybody, and they all need to sign up to the same approach.
Yeah, Matt.
I'd say two things. From an organisation that reads a lot of the documents that people produce. One is say what you want, don't ask for social value. I think, and don't use it as a lifeboat. We know, everybody knows, times are really kind of quite difficult. Austerity is real. And I think we see quite a lot of people using the social value as a lifeboat. The stuff we want, but we can't actually, we don't think we can ask for it. We certainly don't think we can afford it. So we're just going to use this expression, please give us lots of social value. And it feels, when we're scrutinising the paperwork, like it's being used as a lifeboat. I think people have to maintain focus on what is it they really want, and ask for it in very clear ways. And then it doesn't matter whether or not you're a PLC or a social enterprise that's trying to deliver that service or that product to you, we can actually focus on what it is you want rather than trying to guess, because I think there's a lot of guesswork that goes on behind that catch-all phrase of social value.
Great. And more questions. There is one at the back there.
Hello. Sorry, bit of a strange one. I moved down to London to work in London about 3 years ago, and I did a bit of research for the housing association I work for about feeding sort of social enterprise and stuff into our supply chain. And what I found was there was loads of it in Liverpool and Manchester and all around that area in what I believe today is called the Northern Powerhouse. That used to be my wrestling nickname, actually, when I was a kid. But yeah, and what I noticed is it's something, and actually almost half the people I've met today seem to be from the Northwest. So why is it something that's kind of gained traction in that area, seemingly, and that, you know, I can't back this up with any kind of numerical evidence, just on the surface of it, it seems to be something that's gained traction there more easily than other parts of the country. Do you think is there any reason for that? Or
Well, we've got 2 from the Northwest and 2 not, so over to you. I have some thoughts on that.
I don't know, because I've only worked in the Northwest. So it's hard to say why it's not gained the traction there. What I would say is if I had spoken, I was going to say I'm really fortunate to be surrounded by a whole load of organisations and individuals who are also doing just as good, if not better stuff than we are. And in Greater Manchester, we've got a Greater Manchester Social Value Network, which is a network of influencers and leaders in this area who have all come together looking at how do we share our knowledge, how do we influence other people. So there's a lot of collaboration. There's lots of groups between housing providers, where the social value leads from all the housing providers come together and look at how do we learn from each other, how do we collaborate. So I don't know if it's the collaboration kind of drives the momentum.
Any thoughts either from the south or the south are staying very quiet at this point? No?
No, I'll speak.
Yeah, go for it, go.
So in Croydon, we do learn from our peers and those in the north as well. So So we've adopted a Value Croydon framework, which is all about responsible business, and it's a Value Croydon Social Value Charter. Within that is the Good Employer Charter, so I welcome you to contact me and get more information about that. And you'll see similar type of practices happening in the north, and it's all about learning from each other and that peer support as well. So feel free to contact us.
Anything else? No? Both happy? I mean, I think partly I would add, like, I think there's the simple fact that probably in terms of driving transformation, the necessity of that, sometimes the cuts have been quicker and harder in the north. But also there's often a history of this kind of work. So if you look at kind of Manchester and Salford and equally Liverpool, the kind of history of entrepreneurship and non-conformist and alternative ways of doing business is very strong. But we are seeing it spread, I think is the other bit. I've been told there is a handbag in room 4, so if you have lost your handbag in room 4, please see one of the team. Final couple of questions. No? Anyone? Or a reflection? Anything you want to take away from the day? Otherwise, I will ask them. Okay, I will. So one from me. I suppose we're all showcasing our organisations and how great we are. What would be the biggest mistake that you've kind of made on this social value journey? Sorry. And how would that inform how you would advise a kind of similar colleague in their role? What would you do differently if you went again, basically? Sorry, Laura, I'm looking at you. It's all right.
And I'm an optimist. I'm not sure I'd badge it as a mistake, but I would badge it as some
learning.
Some learning.
Valuable learning.
Some valuable learning to share with others in the room. And I think it's about trying to, it was already touched on by Tom, trying to find the thing that will make this agenda of interest and of importance to your stakeholders, and doing that much earlier on in our journey. We've driven this really, really strongly, and some of my colleagues are in the room who've taken absolute personal interest in driving this forward from a procurement perspective. I think my reflection would be getting other stakeholders and getting other decision makers interested in the agenda earlier on in that journey. And that, I think, probably would have helped us to progress even further than we've been able to.
Okay.
So similarly for Croydon, again with our stakeholders, I think we've got pockets of good practice with some of our stakeholders, and particularly our private business partners. As I say, with Value Croydon and the Good Employer Charter, we will be driving that through as leadership within the community, and we recognise as a council, we alone will not be able to address all these issues, but collaboratively, we will be able to do things much better and keep that ethos at the heart.
Yeah, go for it.
Ours is quite simple, really, and it is all around identifying key champions and advocates with internal and external stakeholders to go on the journey with you and not try and do it alone.
Again, not a mistake, but more a learning, I guess. There's not a right way to do it, and it's going to constantly change. And coming down to individual procurements, I was speaking to one of our very proactive suppliers earlier, and what we asked for in the tender, that flexes throughout the duration of that contract, because we work together to identify what's working, what's not working, how should we do things a little bit differently. And you have to keep chipping away at it, and I don't think you can just think you're going to find a solution and set it in stone. You just have to keep evolving.
Great. Matt, anything from you?
Well, with the exception of duetting with Peter Holbrook in a very bad karaoke version of Smells Like Teen Spirit, which is possibly my greatest ever social enterprise failure. I think not shouting loud enough about it soon enough, not building the collateral fast enough, not feeling slightly embarrassed by the fact that we'd stumbled across a good idea, and not realising that it was a no-brainer for so many people. It's not a hard sell, and I thought it was going to be a difficult sell, so I think it's probably that's the biggest error.
Well, look, thank you all very much. If you can join me in kind of thanking all the winners. Stay there. Don't go anywhere. Stay there. Matt, just before I close, have you got any reflections, final thoughts from an Interserve perspective you just want to kind of share? What's next?
What's next? Oh, we do it again. The 5th Social Value Summit, I've been told we've got to start planning it earlier. I suppose I kind of sit and look at you lot, and I'm grateful that you've all come. Thank you very much. When Nick and I invented this idea, I think somebody might have reflected upon it this morning. We started off with 40 people at Dartington Hall in Devon. And the abbreviation for this was, it was Nick and Matt and 40 of our friends. We now find ourselves in this amazingly illustrious building, which is far too posh for me. And it's Nick and Matt and people we don't know, which weirdly enough is probably progress. So all I would say is we are the people who kind of know the most about this. I think we need to talk about it a lot. We need to keep fighting the fight. We fight it from different perspectives and different places around the compass of social value. Some of us come at it very much from a relatively small local perspective, and some come from a very large perspective. I'm interested in how we can take the social value message to some of our international activities into parts of the world where social value is a concept which is at a government level not even kind of thought about. It's on a very distant agenda, but in actual fact for us as a business is very local and very relative. So I learn a lot from everything we do in these events. I enjoy meeting everybody who's part of the community. I personally find myself going back to the YouTube channel and catching up on the stuff that I didn't attend and didn't see on quite a regular basis. I find it's quite an energizing way to remind me of why we continue to invest in this. I look forward to seeing you all next year at the next Social Value Summit, which will be our 5th anniversary. I'm not too sure if that's wooden or something like that, Nick. Yeah, but thank you very much for coming, and it's been a huge pleasure.
Thank you, Matt. Yes. Yeah. So it just remains for me, I'm at this point, as is often said at this stage, the only thing between you and drinks. So just a big thank you, obviously, to Interserve, our partners on this event, and they are genuine partners. Business in the community and the Department for Culture, Media and Sport who support this event. All our exhibitors, who hopefully you've all had a chance to speak to and get the business cards of. All our amazing speakers for giving up their time and preparation and energy and ideas. The team at Fuse, especially Sarah, we can't speak highly enough of the events team at Fuse. And also the great venue here at IET and Johanna from that perspective as well. And finally, my team, SEUK, especially Nancy Sheehan and Fiona, who've done an amazing job in the kind of run-up to this event. So if you can join me in thanking all of those people. Just some straightforward promo. Follow-ups we're running with our colleagues at Social Value UK, a Social Value Academy, a kind of deep dive into this stuff on March the 28th in Manchester. We have a health conference on March the 9th in Birmingham. As Matt said, we're aware that there were lots of interesting sessions today, and sometimes choosing between them I hope was difficult. They will be up online on the microsite, and we will send that link round and tweet that round, and also for you to share with colleagues. And if there are sets of slides and other examples that you want, then please do email us, and we'll try and make as many of those available as possible. A final note, really, I mean, I think, as Matt has said, to have the quality of people in this room that we've had speaking and attending today, far more companies that we've ever had, small and large, far more local authorities that we've ever had, far more housing associations that we've ever had, and of course many of the kind of leading social enterprises in the field. We have come an enormously long way on this agenda. I have a tendency at times to get a bit bogged down, I think, in the minutiae, the costs, the challenges, the detail of procurement, the waiting, the process, and so on. And I was reminded last week in Staffordshire by the council and actually the Chamber of Commerce that this was more fundamental about why we're doing this, and actually that it was about changing people's lives. It was about transforming the communities we live in and about addressing the deep inequality that Brexit and Trump particularly have brought to the surface. So I do think there is an imperative and an urgency to this agenda now that there hasn't been previously. And frankly, things haven't worked. And we do need to do things differently. And social value is a means and a tool and an opportunity has been discussed to do that. So my final thoughts with you are take action and do at least one thing differently. So go back, tell a colleague, change a contract, contact your politician, pursue a partnership, follow up with the person you met here. Take action as individuals and in your organisations and in the systems that those organisations operate in. and take action because it's never been more necessary that we do, and be the radical optimists as a result that Mike Barry was talking about this morning. So thank you very much. Thank you for your engagement and energy today. If you're staying with us, the drinks are on the right as you go out. If you're not, please have a very safe journey home, and thanks again.